You're watching St. Lucia's only 100% digital television station, Hot 7 TV.
The opinions expressed on this TV program by the hosts, guests, and callers are solely their opinions and responsibility. They do not necessarily represent the views and opinions of Hot 7 TV or its affiliates.
Well, good evening once again, folks. Yes, make sure we all level here and everything and do the usual. Thank you so much for joining me one more time right here on Keeping It Real, and a pleasant good night to you wherever you are in St. Lucia and around the world, like they say, in the diaspora. Folks, it's been quite a few eventful days since we last met right here. And of course, you know what I'm talking about. And keeping it real has been keeping it real just for you and keeping up to date on everything that's going on. I just want you to know that tonight is going to be filled with lots of information and everything else that you've grown accustomed to having right here on Keeping It Real. Now, they're sending me the messages already. Independent City in the house. Well, a special good night to Independent City. And just give me a second here, folks. That's right. Oh, keeping it real. Gotta make sure everything's lined up, you know. I don't want anything to be out of whack tonight. I want to make sure. That's right. It's coming along. Okay, folks. My usual shout outs, because I don't want to get into any trouble with anybody. I get bombarded. I think I'm going to have a special show one of these days only for the people in TV land. And yeah, there we go. Just give me a little chance here, folks. Just give me a little chance. We get in there. Don't worry. That's it. Okay, back to you. Sorry about that little thing going on there. Shout-outs right away to Cap Estate, Chase Gardens, Carelie, Mondudon, Rose Hill, Corinth, Bagatelle, Bishop's Gap, Entrepot, Wavin Chabot, Bocage, Babono, Assou Canal, Bacanal, Marisil, Bois d'Orange, Touya, Jacmel, all the fans all over the place. Deglo, Ancillary, Market Street in Ancillary. The Judas down there in Ancillary by the square. Good night to you. I haven't forgotten you all again. Good night to Canries. Good night to Flora Villa. Good night to Soufre, Pamis, New Development Area, Saphir, Choiseul, Laborie, Pierrot, Grace, Beauséjour, North and South of St. Lucia, Groselet, Vieux-Fort, Bonterre, Rodney Bay, Cassamba, Montgero, Micoud, Deriso, Denry, Richfond, Gadet, Larissus, Grand Rivière, and a special good night. I understand he's a very big fan, and I was told, don't you forget it. Semper from Lawi Zaboka in Soufre. You ever heard of that place, folks? Lawi Zaboka. And of course, to all those out there in the diaspora, in Dallas, Texas, in Atlanta, Georgia, New York City, Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx, Manhattan, Staten Island, out there in New Jersey, Jersey City, Newark, Trenton, all over. the Northeast, the New York City metro area. Big up to the Zooks. I know some of you like that. Huh? You like your cricket? Big up to the Zooks. Good night to Hartford, Connecticut, Houston, Texas, Chicago, Illinois, North Dakota. You know, we have somebody out there, and I have to say good night to you too. Miami, Florida, Los Angeles, Raleigh, North Carolina, Trenton, New Jersey, Newark, New Jersey, Martinique, Trinidad, Barbados, Antigua, all around the world. Are you ready? And of course, not forgetting all the fans on Sky FM 93.1, and they all listening with the man Champagne. Good night to all of you. Now, let's get into something here that, again, over the weekend, shocked, dismayed, upset number of St. Lucians, including myself. And you know, folks, some people need to be responsible, especially when it is expected that you would be a little more savant, a little more experienced, a little more exposed than some of the people you try to influence. And on Sunday, we were shocked on social media. I mean, I don't know, you decide. A picture began circulating on Facebook of 3 ID cards. My gosh. And it was Richard Frederick. Let's just keep it real. In essence, stating that in a post on his Facebook page that he was ready and that these people would be voting for him in Central Castries. Nothing wrong in that. But he had the ID cards of these 3 people photographed and presented on Facebook. Why? Is it an ego thing? Was it an ego thing? What was it? But folks, it's all well and good to have your supporters and everything, but you have to be responsible. Sometimes people don't know, they don't appreciate or don't understand the ramifications or the risk involved in some things, and you should know better. And as an attorney, you must have been exposed to identity fraud. I'm sure we know of that happening in St. Lucia already. And the people's ID card has their name, their date of birth, their social security number, their address, their photograph. I mean, why would you, for people who you claim support you, why would you put them at such risk? Why would you jeopardize their long-term viability, their credit worthiness, their identity? And you should see some of those, oh yeah, ready, yeah, wow, great, keep going. Would those people want their own ID cards out there for everybody, for the whole world to see? I mean, come on, man. Come on. Come on. Come on. I mean, there comes a time when you gotta keep it real, man. But anyway, on Sunday, we saw an interview with Philip J. Pierre, leader of the opposition, following 1 week later in the footsteps of a rave-reviewed Alan Chasney interview with the same Janeka Simon. And of course, Philip J. Pierre seems to be playing catch-up with Fortuna Belrose. She goes there, he goes the week after. With Prime Minister Alan Chasney, he goes to Andre Paul a few days later or the week after, he goes there. And it's just a constant, follow the leader, leader, follow the leader, for the leader of the opposition. But oh well, Anyway. So I want to take you down a few clips. I'm not going to show you or play the whole thing. It was an hour and almost 15 minutes. I don't want to bore you to death. But it was a lackluster interview. He seemed very uneasy, uncertain about what he wanted to say. He didn't seem fluent in what he wanted to say. He was fishing for words. Incomplete ideas of nothing really concrete on exactly what he was going to do, how he was going to do it, how he would implement what he was trying to get across. So let's get into the first clip, 12 minutes into the interview, where he talks about investment. Roll it.
We said that we would have a different approach to investment. We said that all incentives for local entrepreneurs will be the same as for foreign investment. We said foreign investment means foreign investment. So we believe that our NIC funds should not be taken to give to a foreign investor. We said we would not take 1,000 acres of land and give it at $1 a square foot. We said we would have taken that land, we would have divided it among several investors. We would have a mixed use. We would do a mixed use with it. We would have land available for St. Lucians abroad who want to St. Lucia. We would have a diverse investment with small hotels, with restaurants, with residents, all in that 1,000 acre. But we would never have compromised the agricultural potential of that area.
We will not give away the NIC monies or the NIC funds. Who gave it away? Who? It's just the constant, every opportunity, and I keep saying that, folks, regardless of how you explain, regardless of the evidence that you present, regardless of you repeating it over and over, there's this dogged determination by the SLP to pretend that they don't understand, to pretend you never said anything, to pretend the evidence does not exist. And he's relating directly to the loan that Cabot gave, that the NIC gave to Cabot. And it's an investment. And for a man who's supposed to be working in finances, because that's what everybody says, he's an accountant, he's an economist, tout ça, il must have ça. He should understand that fundamental principle of investment. You can give a loan as an investment. And let me get into this there tonight. Talk about an investment with Cabot by the NIC. There's interest on the loan, which is backed by 3 times the value of the loan in land, in the property there. The loan is $10 million US, let's say 30 million EC. And security there is triple that, $90 million worth of land as the security. Now let's talk about investment, because he wants to talk about giving away NIC money, which is absolutely ludicrous. So let's look at a similar investment by the NIC under whose directorship? Emma Hippolyte. Blue Coral. And what a nightmare that has been for all those years. Of course, we know what happened on Bridge Street, how that white elephant was standing there for years, nothing happening. But the NIC, under Emma Hippolyte, as director, invested 30 million in there. Sanuni. What do we have in there as security for the 30 million? You think that building worth 30 million? Or 60 million? Or 90 million? Or 5 million? Or 6? I mean, seriously. But you don't hear them making noise about blue coral that's staring them in the face. That big white elephant. What money that place making? Every day they in town. But they will make noise about Cabot, which is for all intents and purposes, fail-safe. That we're going to take 1,000 acres and divide it up and this, that. You all were there for how, since 97? Did you take the 1,000 acres and do anything with it? That at $1 a year? And as a man again, they say he's an economist, they say he's an accountant. You don't understand what a peppercorn rate is? Look it up, folks. Let's keep it real. Look up what peppercorn, Peppercorn, what a peppercorn rate is. It's standard in finance, in investment, in doing business. It's the basics. One of the first things you learn in finance. But Philip J. Pierre will pretend that he doesn't understand, and all of the band of merry oppositioners with him will pretend like they don't know what that means. Like they don't know what it means. And the land we divided for mixed use, but we won't displace the farmers. And still, I ain't see the land develop yet since 1997. The new frontier, that's what you're talking about, View Fort. But nothing happened. There was no new frontier. There was nada. The place was dry. Abalate sec. Stray dogs and unemployment. Everybody moving to the north. Where was that big fat plan you had? You were the deputy prime minister. You didn't have any influence to do what you're talking about there now. How are you going to do it? You see, you haven't said so. But everything is pie in the sky. Pie in the sky. But you want to, we ain't get there yet, you know, about the smart city. We ain't get there. You want me to jump the gun on that? We're going to come to the smart city in a while. Because that, out of everything you spoke, or you said in that interview, what has jumped out at everybody is the fantasy wish that you had for a smart city in cul-de-sac. Let's go to the next clip.
Moving forward, that's what we're going to do. That moving forward, we're going to have a more inclusive society. Moving forward, we look at a reform of the Constitution. Moving forward, we look at a youth economy. Moving forward, we would look at a difference, more housing, affordable housing, not cheap housing, affordable housing. Look at our health services. We said that immediately we would have ensured that St. Jude Hospital and the OK Hospital would have come into being. Immediately, we would have never destroyed the St. Jude Hospital. We would have never thought about waiting for COVID to allow the OK Hospital to come into being. Immediately, we would have got the OK Hospital going.
Yay! You know, there's a friend of mine who laughs just like that. You know, folks, I mean, is that some kind of cruel joke? Is it a farce? I mean, we would immediately open, we said we would have immediately opened St. Jude and OKEU. You had a whole term in there. You didn't. For OKEU, you had a naming ceremony and the hospital just sat there. You couldn't open it. You couldn't finish St. Jude. What, if any type of confidence you think anybody has in y'all in being able to accomplish anything? You constantly say, well, this government, we started it. But when you say that, what you're saying is that you were unable to finish anything. You were unable to do the roads. You were unable to desal the dam. You were unable to open OKEU. You were unable to finish St. Jude's. I mean, I don't know. Reform the Constitution? But weren't you there when the report was presented to you? Let's go to the next one.
The middle class or the middle income class is under tremendous pressure and strain because these people, one of the partners work in the tourism industry. One of them is a taxi driver. One of them is a tour guide. These things have not come back, and they will not come back. So instead of fooling ourselves and believing they will not. St. Lucia will always have tourism, I said so before. So here's what we should do. Right now, we should be using the resources of the country to look at the areas that St. Lucia has a competitive advantage, but the areas that will not depend too much on external forces. I mean physical forces.
Says the taxi jobs will not come back and everything else. And then immediately after that, he says, but we will always have tourism. So what are people going to ride? Kabue. So we'll always have tourism, but we won't have taxi drivers. I mean, go into that again, and because I want you to, you may have missed it. Go halfway into that and play it again.
These things have not come back, and they will not come back. So instead of fooling ourselves and believing they will not. St. Lucia will always have tourism, I said so before. So here's what we should do. Right now, we should be using the resources of the country to look at the areas that St. Lucia has a competitive advantage, but the areas that will not depend too much on external forces.
Depend on areas that don't depend too much on external forces. And I guess that will drive our economy. I hope you realize that Philip J. Pierre didn't give any example of what he meant by anything that would not depend too much on external forces. Folks, everything we do here depends on external forces. Everything. 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 External forces, you want to talk, let's keep it real. You want to talk about fuel, about gas? You want to talk about, okay, so we grow bananas, we grow dashin, we'll grow yam, we'll grow potatoes. So we have a worldwide conflagration, war in the Middle East or wherever, oil not pumping. How you getting the dashin from the Mabuya Valley to Castries? Tell me how you getting it there. You put it on your back. Tell me. Tell me how the medicine get into St. Lucia. Tell me how the clothes will get to St. Lucia. And if you want to say we have seamstresses and tailors here, how the material get in here. If we get into some global issues where the boats can't go, well, we saw what happened there. The cruise ships can't go. What happens if we have some major conflict? Everything we do in St. Lucia is dependent on external sources. Don't you realize that? St. Lucia can be cut off from the world. Our internet, yeah, we have internet here. Everything could be working in St. Lucia. But you have some espionage and they cut the fiber optic cable, the undersea fiber optic cable. What happened? Dead in the water. We can't make phone calls. We can't do nothing. External forces, everything. Everything. Fiber optic cables cut, brap, TV down. Everything. So I mean, I don't know how well thought out that was. But anyway, enough, I could go on and on and on. And you could just imagine for yourself. This makes absolutely no sense. It's not logical. It sounds fancy. Yeah, we'll be self-dependent. Or we'll be less dependent on external forces. And please. Please. You want to be less dependent on tourism and replace it with what? Replace it with what? The farmers are still selling to St. Lucians. But what happened? The tourism industry is down. What do you have to replace tourism that will satisfy the farmers here? We don't have the economy of scale, and you saw that when the tourist industry fell flat. Gosh. Let's go to the next one.
When I was Minister of Tourism, I began a program that said, let us allow St. Lucians, the second generation St. Lucian in England, America, invite them back home. So I started a program where I said to my people in the industry, try to get St. Lucians, give them a commission to invite other people to come home. So okay, so you said you have your son, your grandson, you come St. Lucia. Instead of going to Europe, come to St. Lucia, and you get a commission for every child you bring. See, here's what that would do. First of all, it would bring the diaspora closer home, because there is a generation of people who their relatives are in St. Lucia, they know nothing about St. Lucia, and they did not holiday in St. Lucia. So right away, we have a kind of tourism.
Gotta get myself in order here, folks. You heard that? Of course, he was referring to that program they had, which started in 2015, called 2015 or thereabouts, 2014, 2015. C'est ça nous. That's what it was called, C'est ça nous. And it was launched at a restaurant in Brooklyn. I was there. I can tell you about it. It was a cold day too. I think October or something. And exactly what he was saying there. But what was the success of that? What has happened with it? And Philip J. Pierre, leader of the opposition, is talking as if St. Lucians in the diaspora don't come home. That St. Lucians in the UK don't come home. That we give people an incentive to come. How did that work out? People are not in touch with their relatives. A lot of these people don't want to come back. They tell you that. They made England their home. And the people who want to come, they come. But what you want to do is not for people to come on vacation, because there's lots of competition all over the world. What you want to do is entice people. Entice people to come home, to invest, to live. Make St. Lucia nice. Not inviting them to come home on vacation and you give somebody a little, they get something, a night at a hotel, the family that get them there after you score so many points. That was the whole thing. You score points. That after you score so many points, you get this, you get that. It's too much work. People don't want to do that as a job. How many darn relatives does somebody have before they can get a prize that they can get to come over? Let the travel agents alone. Let the people, come on. Let's do something more meaningful, more financially, more financially viable for people to come back home. And that is why we have the diaspora office with Ambassador Joycelyn Fletcher. And they've been doing a lot of work there for that. But you're saying something else about it. And when we get to it, folks, to that clip, then I will tell you about it. But and then sometime last week, I could not believe my ears. I wanted to scream. I wanted to roll. I wanted to bawl. Philip J. Pierre, my goodness, is calling on the government now to extend the NIC benefits to the people who have been put out of work because of COVID. What? Isn't that the same Philip J. Pierre that said they're taking the pensioners' money? And it was a chorus. Philip J. Pierre, Honest Hilaire, Alva Baptiste, Moses Jean-Baptiste, all of them. Sean Edwards taking the people's money to give to people, and we cannot afford this and this, that. And when they went to the house to get permission to authorize it, it was a whole big brouhaha. It went on all night in the house. The guys were opposed. Messieurs. And now last week, is this some kind of cruel joke against St. Lucians? And now the very same, Jasne, my God, Jasne. Jasne is taking the people's pension money. Oh. Gosh. But then now, here's a very interesting part of it all. The charade doesn't end. Let's go to the next clip.
I said St. Lucia was the worst prepared country for COVID. Up to this morning, somebody is saying that. I've explained that, and I'm going to do it again. At the time I said it, St. Lucia was indeed the worst prepared country for COVID. St. Lucia had no quarantine. You were still speaking about quarantine at Rat Island. St. Lucia had no testing. St. Lucia had none of these things, but St. Lucia had plans. But at the time it was. Since the time, the party has encouraged the government to close the country down earlier. We've encouraged our supporters to support all the protocols. Up to this day, I still wear my mask.
Folks, St. Lucia was the worst prepared. At the time, when he made that statement, we had those NEMAC meetings. That was about the end of February, early March. We had no cases yet. Most of the islands in the region had no cases. We were seeing all of that happening outside in the US, in Europe, in Spain. We were watching from afar, amazed. When the Aida Perla was the first ship that we stopped out there in the harbor. First ship in all of that. We had no cases. So we were the worst prepared. Nothing had happened. We had all of these meetings, and it's exactly what NEMAC was for. That's why the opposition was there. And to that meeting that you didn't attend. That's why Sean Edward had to attend that meeting. And this is what Sean Edward said. Roll it.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister. Good morning, everybody. Mine is not any technical pronouncement, but if anything, I just want to, on behalf of the parliamentary opposition, register our collective gratitude to the health team and everybody who constitutes NEMAC for the effort that is being made to get our country prepared in the event that we are confronted with a case. This morning has proven to be yet another reminder.
Pause that there. Go back 10 seconds. You heard Sean say, it's good that we're putting all these measures in place and getting ready before we even have a case. Play it for them to hear.
To get our country prepared in the event that we are confronted with a case.
You hear that, eh? You hear it? Come back to me. You hear it? We had no case yet. And St. Lucia was still blazing the trail in the region. We were still blazing the trail. What do you think was going on there? A NEMAC meeting with all the agencies, all the stakeholders, the fire, police, customs, Tutmun, the Chamber of Commerce, the churches, volunteer organizations, Border Lake Correctional Facility, all the government ministers, Tut Kaltemun, NEMO, the meteorological services, SLASPA, Tutmun. In fact, there were so many people in there, we had no cases yet, that I think it was somebody on the opposition side, of course, who said, well, I hope the next time we come here, we don't have so many people, we can show some social distancing. You remember the ads on TV? Wash your hands, wash them clean. You remember that? All of that. We had the chief medical officer there, the minister of health, Tut Kaltemun. But this has the audacity. I mean, it's like everything, nothing. Lucia this government cannot do anything right. Everything. You have to throw shade on it. We get good numbers from the Centers for Disease Control. Things not good. Well, we're not the only ones in the world. We on level 3, well, it's bad. It doesn't matter what you do for those guys. Put them on a committee to have their own input to assist. They quit. They left. And you want to come now when you had the opportunity for some meaningful input. Zot tout kite, those who represented the opposition. And now you want to come and talk. We was prepared, this, that. And Sean said it there. Sean démenti you. You were not even there and then you want to make fun and talk about, oh, they even wanted to use Rat Island. It was a suggestion. And as a matter of fact, if you know anything about St. Lucia's history, Rat Island was a quarantine island. Yes, it was. It was a quarantine island. So nobody said we're going to do that. The Prime Minister didn't say we're going to do that. But we're going to look at the possibilities of everything. Because if we have something that can solve it, why not use it? Why do you try to make a joke out of it when the intention in exploring the possibility was to save St. Lucian lives? But you know, it does not fit your purpose for that to be okay, for you to compliment it, for you to say, yeah, that was a good idea. You know, we figure out which one we're going to go with. No, no. Oh, no. Have to throw shade. But let's go to the next point and some more misinformation. Go again. No, not
this morning has
let Sean finish. Let him finish.
proven to be yet another reminder of the rich repository of talent that resides in this country. I mean, when I listened to the presentations made by Dr. Belma and her team, it's hard to imagine that there's anywhere else in the region where they can top this. I mean, this is world class, and sometimes when we are not able to achieve things, it is not as a result of we not having the capacity, but because of resource constraints. I had my own personal fears, I must admit, prior to coming here this morning. But a lot of that has been allayed, and I think I will leave here better informed, and I can, at least at the level of constituency, if not nationally, help with that level of preparedness in the event that we are faced with a case. So once again, congratulations to the team from the Ministry of Health, and I want to congratulate NIMAC, as I said, for this initiative. Thank you.
We were the worst prepared. You heard it just there. Before we have a case, in the event that we get a case. So way early in the game, St. Lucia had everybody who needed to be there, discussing, brainstorming, discussing the protocols, discussing how we go forward. But for Philip J. Pierre, we were the worst prepared. Well, monsieur, I mean, seriously? Next clip.
For the first time, a pandemic has affected the whole world.
Misinformed again. Misinformed again. For the first time, we've had a world pandemic. Sure, folks, a simple Google of that. Because when I heard that, I heard other things at school. So, top 4. The plague or Black Death in the 14th century. Spanish influenza, to which this very coronavirus is referred to all the time, how it's having an effect on the world. The Spanish influenza was in 1918. And listen to this, about 500 million people were infected. A third of the global population at the time, a third of the world population was infected, leading to 50 to 100 million people dead. But COVID-19 is the first. HIV/AIDS, and it's still ongoing. In the 20th century, and since then, about 75 million people have been infected with HIV, and about 32 million have died. And SARS, of course, you remember SARS, the precursor or the cousin to COVID-19. Not too long ago, 2002, 2003. And you remember what was going on with that? But Philip JPS says this was the first world pandemic. A little wrong there, so much of what you said there was incorrect in that interview. And let's go to the last one that I'm going to go to from that interview with Janeka Simon.
In the diaspora, there's a wealth of knowledge on there. As Prime Minister, I would invite these people to come home, not to live, because some of them, to live, yes, but to come home and share their experiences with the government, share their experiences with St. Lucia. You understand? We would use them, we would bring St. Lucia to a sphere of academia. I mean, because St. Lucia, here's what we are. I mean, we have the two, so Alpha Lewis and Derek Walker, we have people like McDonald Dixon and Robert Lee, and we have economists all over the world, we have engineers, we have doctors, we have professors, we have artists, we have footballers, sportsmen out there. Are we leveraging them properly? Are we really doing that? In this post-COVID times, these people are looking to leave the US, you know that. But will they be welcome at home?
Will they be welcome at home? At this time, they leave. And he has all the plans for that. But as I was telling you earlier, this government has really pushed on the diaspora front. There have been road shows in the US, in Canada, cities throughout the US. I mean, as the leader of the opposition and a St. Lucian, I don't know how a man who's supposed to be aware of what's going on would not have known that all of this was happening. It was all over social media. It was all on the news. Announcements were made, statements were made, the ambassador made statements. There were articles in the papers, in the online papers, in the traditional papers, stories on TV. But just in case, some of you may feel that I'm just hogwashing. I mean, look at all of this. Customs and Excise and all the relevant agencies have come together to deal with returning nationals and what incentives can be put out for them. Exemptions of customs duties on personal and household effects, definition of a returning national, exemptions on motor vehicles, everything about the amount that's going to get off, exemption on tools of trade, the process, how do you prepare, how you come from over there, over here, arrival in St. Lucia, what do you do? Look, get your trade license. This is from Invest St. Lucia for companies or individuals applying for the first time. For companies, look, small printed. Documents to submit for incorporation. All of this information is there for the returning nationals. Additional requirements to complete incorporation or registration. All the info, it's available for locals too, but it's being made available for easy access. Investment concessions. Look, Invest in Lucia. What are they saying there? For INCOP, Department of Commerce, up to 100% exemption from the payment of income tax for a maximum period of 15 years. All of this is available. And you talk about make the same concessions available to locals and St. Lucian. They have the concessions. But if you're coming in as a land or a real estate developer, you're not going to get the same concessions as somebody who's coming in as a food processor or whatever. It's different. The risks are different. The amount of input financial that you have to put in there is different. If you want to come in and set up a store for $10,000, whatever you're doing, the incentives you're going to get or the assistance you will get is going to be less or not the same as somebody who's coming to invest $100 million. Come on. If you go to the bank to get a loan for $1,000, you think the requirements are going to be the same as somebody coming for $100 million? Of course not. There's always going to be differences. Department of Agriculture, what investors think. Tooth caltip, all of this, nearly all of this. We are seeking the best ideas, innovation and impact, even at advertising to the diaspora. Invest in Lucia is all about you, the investor. This is targeted at St. Lucians in the diaspora, Mili. How can we help you? Phone number, website, investinlucia.com, all the contact information. Tout bagay la. But Philip JPA will have you believe that St. Lucie n'a fait rien for the St. Lucians who want to return home. It continues to be a work in progress, but it's being refined, it's being defined, and it's being made more accessible and more streamlined for St. Lucians coming home. But anyway, this first segment went a little bit over. So we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to be back for the big kahuna, folks. See you after the break.
Avoid the congestion and traffic associated with Castries City and Rodney Bay shopping and come to Gablewoods Mall. We have everything you'd possibly want, from a sprawling supermarket to a complete furniture store, from your choice of elegant boutiques to professional photography, dry cleaning, a hardware store, medical facilities, drugstores, hair and beauty salons, an eyewear center, and so much more. We truly do have it all, along with a food court which provides sumptuous meals and free Wi-Fi while you dine. Parking is plentiful and shopping times most convenient. Come to Gablewoods Mall. We're the mall that started it all.
Tibanan Caribbean Bistro and Bar, nestled within Coco Palm, a boutique hotel in the heart of entertainment capital Rodney Bay, offers a truly unique experience with the best food, drinks, and music. Open 7 a.m. to 12 midnight daily for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Tibanan specializes in authentic French Caribbean cuisine, delectable tropical cocktails, and the best live entertainment on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Tibanan also offers catering for weddings, special occasions, and conferences. For reservations, call 456-2800 or email reservations@coco-resorts.com. Tibanan Caribbean Bistro and Bar, where passion meets quality.
Tibanan Caribbean Bistro is now open for takeaway and delivery only. Place your orders by calling 456-2866 or 724-9309 or email orders@coco-resorts.com. Takeaway orders to be collected at hotel reception area and delivery fees vary on your location.
The Bryce water tanks are of top quality and highly durable.
It's a monolithic tank, meaning it's just one unit, which makes it stronger than the other tanks, which comes in two pieces. It also carries a Hellguard lining, which is FDA approved.
Bryce and Company, build for living, build for life.
Well, welcome back, folks. Welcome back. That's the theme music right there, and you're taking your seats, I hope. Get back, get back, get back. Come on, people. We're into segment number 2 of the show tonight. And I hope you're ready, because it's going to be hot. Now, let me tell you something. Lately, you know, there are a number of things that I could go back on about that interview, because, I mean, it is replete with pie in the sky. Same thing from 97, same from for the SLP and Pierre and all of them, and they didn't deliver on nada. Talking about smart city and cul-de-sac. I mean, you really know what a smart city is? Does Philip JPA even know what? Did somebody just whisper that in his ear 5 minutes before the show? Does he know what IoT is? If he's talking about smart cities, he should have gone into all of that. The Internet of Things. Everything is connected. Your TV. TVs are connected already. Your refrigerator. Everything. Alexa, Google, tout kalti bagay. The street lights. Everything is evaluated. Everything, all the data, everything that you can pull out from that. But we've already started the smart St. Lucia, Ojo Labs. Huh? What's the other one they opened up down there just a few weeks ago? ITEL BPO. What's that about? And no matter how you try to throw shade on Ojo Labs, you know, somebody said smart city Wi-Fi in a toilet. The idea of a smart city in Marchand is a freeness, a bathroom. That's the idea of a smart city. Why you don't start there? All those years, you want to go to cul-de-sac where they have grass? How about improving things for your people? Huh? What did you do? But you want to talk, nice sounding smart city, and you go, folks, I want you to look up smart city, okay? Smart city, look it up. But we're already on the way. We're already on the way. We're already on the education path. We're already in the sporting path. Because although Philip J.P. talks about smart city, he fails to realize that everything will have to be a part of the smart in the country. And that's already being done. And our people are already being prepared. Artificial intelligence by Ojo Labs. But, enough of that for now. Enough of that. You talk about moving. What about the Black Bay farmers? Who moved them? Who moved them? All the land that down there you're talking about of giving people to do this, and you'll have smaller shops and this, that, and you'll have cows in between. Yeah. But anyway, recently, St. Lucians witnessed an article which was placed online. We heard about a bank account that was being audited, and we heard about London, and we heard about the British High Commission, and brought back visions of Nam. No, not Nam. Of Jufali. Because that story hasn't been closed satisfactorily for many St. Lucians. And I want to take you back a little bit, so that I could set the stage, set the tone for all of this. Because sometimes you have to look back, and that's why they don't want you to look back. That's the past, man. That's the past, man. Forget that. That's the past. Because like they say, hindsight is 20/20 vision. And looking at the past, we can see a lot of things. We can see patterns of behavior. We can see patterns of, well, you will be able to detect and identify your own patterns. So let's start from some common ground so we can set the baseline from where we move forward. Roll it.
What Dr. Jufali is getting in return is a St. Lucian passport. He has St. Lucian nationality, unlike Bill Gates and the people he made reference to.
Does he have St. Lucian nationality?
Doesn't he have a St. Lucian passport?
But there's a difference between having a passport and having St. Lucian nationality.
Okay, but doesn't he have a St. Lucian passport?
Well, see, I mean, you'll have to have the authorities about it, but I'm saying to you...
No, but if you're having a conversation, you were our British High Commissioner, all right, to London. You're our High Commissioner to London. You should be in a position to answer that particular question, whether he has a St. Lucian passport or not.
No, what I'm saying to you, team, I was trying to explain to you this woman, and let me answer this with a kind of you. There's a difference between having a passport, which is to facilitate official duties, and necessarily having nationality.
Okay, what's his status?
I want you to make that point.
What is his status?
He's our representative to the IMO.
Okay, apart from that, does he have a St. Lucian passport?
Again, like I said, the authorities are linked and can speak about those issues. I'm not sure it's in my place.
No, but if you're having a frank discussion...
Put it that way, Tim. Put it that way, Tim. I would see nothing wrong in Dr. Jufali or anybody who has official status being granted a diplomatic passport. So it is to facilitate the conduct of their duties.
Okay, but does he have a diplomatic St. Lucian passport?
Tim, again, I'm explaining to you. I'm not the one to reveal that. I mean, they are the persons who are best to make those announcements. I'm not going to announce all the people I know. I can tell you, I know a lot of people that have diplomatic passports, and I've had it for many years. It's not my place to make that announcement. That's what I'm saying to you.
Okay, because I don't It appears, sir, that Dr. Jafali is interested in St. Lucia to the extent that he does not want anything in return, that he's so altruistic in terms of his love for St. Lucia.
Well, again, I don't know how much I can convince you about that. But on the other hand, Tim, of course, if someone is going to invest, and as much as they're going to have philanthropic notions, they are investors and they think that they can make a profit because it's never always entirely a charity. Somebody might say, look, an investment can bring a return on investment of 10%, but in a country it might only bring 2 or 3%. So it's not a big money maker for me, but I wouldn't necessarily want to set up an enterprise where I lose millions every year. I mean, there are different levels of consideration one can give. One can give a grant of, say, $5 million and the grant is the foundation of things can happen. People do make those grants in the world.
Any final comments from you, Dr. Hilaire?
I don't know. Did he have a diplomatic passport? I don't know. It's not up to me. Take my cafe, my man. Glow. As if, he's discombobulated, like weaseling, and just can't answer a simple question. That all the time, always, that's how it is, The simplest thing. Well, look at it this way. Look at it this way. Well, I don't know. Well, it's not up to me. I mean, a simple, you were the High Commissioner. You were there in everything. It's not up to me to say. Come on, man. Come on. You're not saying anything new. You're not disclosing any secret information. Nada. Show me number 3. From the Permanent Secretary to Dr. Ernest Hilaire, High Commissioner of St. Lucia in London. The date, the 25th of April, 2014. Long before that interview with Timothy Polio. Let's look at the first paragraph there. Dr. Walid Jufali has been appointed as the permanent representative of St. Lucia to the International Maritime Organization. This went to Ernest Hilaire. Look at the highlighted text, folks. The Office of the Prime Minister has approved the issuance of diplomatic passport to Dr. Jufali. How could you not have known? It had to have been on your recommendation. You had to be informed because you were head of mission. And you had to have known because before Dr. Jufali was made St. Lucia's permanent representative to the IMO, guess who was? Dr. Ernest Hilaire! You were. So you had to have known who your successor was, and you had to have known. In fact, let's go to Jufali number 1. First document. That's right. First one. So you see there, folks, look at the date. I want you to pay attention to the dates because these things are very important. Right? 12th of February 2014. And Dr. Ernest Hilaire, look at the text. Dear Prime Minister is writing, further to my appointment as permanent representative to the IMO and the intention to promote the more active participation of St. Lucia in the IMO, I wish to recommend the appointment of Dr. Walid Jufali as the deputy permanent representative to the IMO. So he would be under Ernest Hilaire, would be his deputy. Dr. Jufali is presently chairman of E.A. Jufali and Brothers and is a highly successful businessman. He holds a deep interest in matters relating to St. Lucia and has agreed to serve at the IMO at no cost to St. Lucia. He fully understands the vision for increasing our profile in the IMO and enhancing our maritime interests. Now let's go to number 2. Let's go to number 2. Look at the date. 18th of March. What's that, like 6 weeks after? 6 weeks after. He writes to Dr. Kenny Anthony, Ernest Hilaire again, me abai is kadio. Dear Prime Minister, I refer to my letter of the 12th of February. So that's 5 weeks previous of 2014 attached for ease of reference. Noting discussions at the recently concluded foreign policy retreat on new strategic directions for St. Lucia's foreign policy and my appointment as the next ambassador to France as part of an expanding European role, I wish to recommend my recall as St. Lucia's permanent representative to the IMO. Further, I wish to recommend Dr. Walid Jufali to serve as the permanent representative to the IMO. In my letter of 12 February 2014, I had recommended Dr. Jufali to serve as the deputy. At that level of representation, Dr. Jufali should also be appointed as an ambassador. I have attached his CV, which shows that he is a person of eminent standing and qualification and will serve St. Lucia well. I want to also remind you folks, just at the timeline here, so we can, reacquaint ourselves, that Jufali filed for divorce from Mrs. Strada in 2014. 2014. Let's go to the next one. We're going to number, is that number 3? What number is number 4? Okay, number 4. We're going to number 4. Look at the date again, folks. The date is in the last paragraph. 3rd day of April, 2014. And that is a letter from whom? Foreign Affairs Minister Alva Baptiste. Involved in all what was going on, was he? Anyway, he says, the highlighted section is what we're concerned about. He's sending this to the Secretary General of the IMO, Mr. Koji Sekimizu. Must be Japanese. I am pleased to believe that, listen to this, I am pleased to believe. He believes. He doesn't know, I am pleased that. He says, I am pleased to believe that Ambassador Hilaire, during his tenure, has devoted all his efforts to representing St. Lucia and transacting matters pertaining to the work of the international blah, blah, blah. In the first thing he says, having need elsewhere, the first paragraph, having need elsewhere for Dr. Ernest Hilaire, who has blah, 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 blah. You get the idea. So he said that, I regret to inform you the revocation of his appointment. Go to the next one, number 5. Number 5 now is also from Alpha Baptist, and in essence, same thing, but now informing that Walid Jufali is now appointed as ambassador and permanent representative of St. Lucia to the IMO. Dr. Jufali is authorized to fully take part in the meetings to transact all matters, blah, blah, blah. Okay, folks? Let's go to the next one, number 6. This is where it begins to get interesting. Now, this is the 11th of February, 2015, and it's a email from Dr. Ernest Hilaire from the St. Lucia High Commission. Dear Jamil, hope all is well. Any update on the transfer mentioned below? Our independence celebration in a few days, and we would need some assistance. So I guess he's talking about what? Money or something? I don't know what he's talking about. To whom? I don't know. But look at the highlighted portion there, where Jamil writes to him and says, on another matter, can we please obtain a letter confirming that the St. Lucian government does not waive Dr. Jufali's immunity under A32 of the Diplomatic Privileges Act 1964, A15 of the IMO Immunities and Privileges Order 2002. This has been requested by our lawyers to hold in their records. Okay? Let's go to the next one, which would be number 7. 23rd of January, Mr. Cap, Director of Protocol. And it says blah, 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 blah. He's Ernest Hilaire. You see the signature down there? He's writing to the Foreign Commonwealth Office and says, you're aware that Dr. Walid Jufali was appointed as St. Lucia's King. And then next paragraph, in accordance with, the sections of the IMO Act and all of that, 2002, please can you certify that His Excellency, Dr. Walid Jufali, holds diplomatic status? I thought you all should have known all of that already. But he's uncertain. He wants to make sure, because they get in pressure. Does Dr. Jufali have immunity? So let's go to the next one. Number 8. And it is from Dr. Ernest Hilaire, to Linda, please type on letterhead, and he tells her what to type. As part of the extending presence of St. Lucia within the IMO, blah, blah, blah. Dr. Walid Jufali, St. Lucia's permanent representative to the IMO, has employed Mr. Tafao Williams, a St. Lucian and formerly employed at the Commonwealth Secretariat, as his personal assistant. For Mr. Williams to adequately perform his duties at the IMO, he would need to be appropriately accredited. Accordingly, Dr. Jufali is requesting the appointment of Mr. Williams to the post of First Secretary, Maritime Affairs in the St. Lucia High Commission, serving the St. Lucia Permanent Mission to the IMO. The appointment will be at no expense or cost to the government of St. Lucia and will be fully borne by Dr. Walid Jufali as permanent representative. I attach curriculum vitae of Mr. Williams. I'm telling you, folks, Mr. Tafao Williams was more than qualified to have been St. Lucia's permanent representative to the IMO. Absolutely no doubt about that. But let's go to the next one. And you know all the talk about Walid Jufali and his contacts and what he would do and this, that. What did he do for St. Lucia? What? To Dr. Kenny Anthony, and that's from Ernest Hilaire from the St. Lucia High Commission. And he says in the highlighted paragraph down below, to achieve St. Lucia's foreign policy objectives in the region, and in particular Saudi Arabia, I commend for your consideration the recommendation that in addition to regular honorary counsel for Ms. Jufali, that's Hala Jufali, that she be accorded the power to issue visas for travel to St. Lucia. This will contribute to the efforts of promoting tourism and investment trips to St. Lucia from persons in the region, as it will provide greater ease to obtain visas. Listen to this now. They're giving all of that for the Saudis to come to St. Lucia, but listen to what he says there now. We can consider at a later stage the negotiation of a reciprocal visa waiver agreement. Can you believe that? But let's go on. I just set in the baseline here. Just set in the baseline. Number 10. Do I want to go through that? Let's go to the next one. 11. Look at it. High Commissioner from Linda Hamilton to Ernest Hilaire. Subject C426 form. High Commissioner, HC, Mr. Tafao Williams from W Investments brought 2 application forms for the release of 2 cars arriving in customs on Sunday. That's the 20th of March 2015. 1 Maserati for Mrs. El Adada and a Rolls Royce for Mr. Walid Jufali. Mr. Fragis has signed the forms and passed them down to me. Mr. Williams has applied his lovely hint of diplomatic sweet talks. Okay? I see people getting perks. I see people benefiting. I still ain't hear what St. Lucia get yet. Let's go to number 12. Maserati and a Rolls Royce. Another letter, 13th of May 2015, Fast and Furious, from W Investments, Walid Jufali's company. And it is our understanding that the St. Lucia government's intention was to appoint Jufali as its principal permanent representative or acting principal permanent representative to the IMO, in which case the immunity is conveyed. So you remember that, folks. I'm getting you all back there. Don't get vexed. Some people forget already. I have to refresh the memories. Right? I have to refresh the memory. Go to number 13. You have that there? Yes. Another email to Ernest Hilaire from Lucia Asta. Your Excellency, we have been asked to obtain a letter or some other form of document from the FCO, the Foreign Commonwealth Office, St. Lucian government, and the IMO confirming that Dr. Jufali is the principal permanent. People going frantic. Well, dear, we need to know that he has diplomatic immunity. What's going on? Answer us. Say something. Let's go to the next one, 14. Now, this is a letter from the High Commission signed by Dr. Ernest Ile to apparently, or clearly, the solicitors for Miss Estrada. And at the bottom, after all that they went through and everything, he says, I am further instructed to advise you that the government of St. Lucia will not entertain any further correspondence requesting that the government waive Dr. Jufali's immunity. Let's go to the first statement one, which was after all the désordre and the foreign embarrassment and everything. First statement from the Prime Minister's office on November 11th, 2015. Government assures the public that all, the first paragraph, government assures the public that all necessary due diligence was done prior to the appointment of Dr. Jufali. Then we go down to the highlighted section at the bottom of the first page. To date, Dr. Jufali has conducted his duties to the highest, listen to the highest expectations of the government of St. Lucia. What expectations were those? What did he deliver? What did he bring for St. Lucia with all of that connections and being a philanthropist and everything? What did he do to get our, to have performed to the highest expectations of the government of St. Lucia, in addition to advancing the goals of St. Lucia? What goals in the IMO and sourcing investment? How could he have advanced the goals at the IMO when he never attended one darn meeting of the 24 whilst he held that office? How? He didn't attend any meetings. He didn't. And sourcing investment for St. Lucia. What investments did Walid Jufali get for St. Lucia? What? The mama guy in the public. Dr. Jufali has initiated his first major project for St. Lucia. Which one? Wait. So that's it on those. You see, folks, I just want to establish so you can, remember. So now, let us go to a letter from the Director of Finance. And that letter is dated the 20th of November, 2017. And it's to the Comptroller of Customs. And the subject, report of missing government property or asset. And let's go to the second page of that letter. And there's a highlighted portion at the bottom that I want to bring to your attention. And it says, I should further advise that the Department of Finance maintains a database of all vehicles owned by the state. And at the time of writing, the Department of Finance has no record of this asset being purchased by the state, nor being disposed of by the Department of Finance. Whereas the inquiry by the Cabinet Secretary is to investigate the unauthorized disposal of government property, the matter of the ownership of the vehicles is key to establishing that the vehicle is the property of the state. It is for this reason this matter is being referred to your office for further investigation and for requisite follow-up action. That's what it says. Now, lest you misunderstand, the first paragraph is saying that there's a database and there's no record, because if the High Commission or an embassy of St. Lucia overseas or a consulate has to purchase a vehicle, it must be in the estimate of expenditures. That's what the budget is for. They anticipate the spending of money to do X, Y, Z. And it must be approved. And the monies will be transferred. So the consulate or the High Commission or the embassy doesn't just stay one day and buy a vehicle in the name of the St. Lucia High Commission in London. It's a procedure. It's a process. But if you do purchase a vehicle in the name of the High Commission, you would have gotten the requisite authorizations to do that. And it would have been in the database. It would have been in the database. So let's go now to a reply to customs from the attorney for Dr. Ernest Hilaire. Let's go to that one. Have that there? That's right, TM Antoine. And 21st of February 2018 to Mr. Roddy Alcindor. Let's scroll up and see what it is. So that suggests that there was a communication to them. No, not yet, not yet. Go back to the title, the subject. Request for documentation and perfect entry for importation of vehicle. Now, folks, what perfect entry means is that you satisfy or you close your entry. You've produced all the documents, whatever is required, you pay your duties, whatever, if you are exempt or whatever, everything comes in and say, okay, approved. So this suggests that the entry was not perfected, that it was not closed. But listen to, this is the bewildering thing to me. We act herein on behalf of Dr. Ernest Hilaire, blah, 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 blah. It says, in your missive, you requested the following documents pursuant to Section 102 of the Customs Control and Management Act, Cap 15.05. Supplier's quotation for the vehicle, proof of payment to the supplier, certificate of ownership. But the highlighted section here, folks, as an attorney representing a client, is the most peculiar thing I've ever seen. Because you keep it strictly business. You produce the documents, you say you don't have it, you say you have it, you say you'll produce it on a particular date. That's how you would communicate on that. But a whole diatribe, Dr. Hilaire is a returning diplomat from St. Lucia. As with all other diplomats before him and after him returning home, he is afforded the privilege of returning with his personal items and indeed a vehicle. Moreover, such privilege is at the behest of the government of St. Lucia, who is and has accepted that it is responsible for all expenses, including all taxes, liable to be paid by a returning diplomat on the goods being returned to St. Lucia. Given such, we are at a loss to understand the basis for the investigation. Why is our client being subjected to such a process? Have all returning diplomats been subjected to such an embarrassing process under a cloud of something illegal and being made out to be some type of criminal? Moreover, we find it a bit curious that the Customs Department, and more so the Comptroller, would be requesting documentation that it claims it needs, but which is, next one, not that, the next page, page number 2, with the highlighted stuff, not that, yeah. The page after the one you showed there, yeah. Let's go to the bottom highlighted there. The Comptroller of Customs, and indeed the Customs Department, is primarily and intricately to concern itself with the collection of revenue for the government of St. Lucia on goods imported and exported, save if exempted. No, that's not the only duties of the Customs Department. Let's go to the next page. And at the bottom there, I mean, a whole load of stuff. I mean, a whole diatribe about being, in essence, targeted politically and a witch hunt and all sorts of things. I'm not even going to get into that. That's the last page. And let's go to the bottom of that page. A whole diatribe about, just a request for 3 documents, 3 pages of stuff. We have cooperated from day one and we will continue to cooperate, but not under any cloud of political mischief, baseless requests, and political witch hunt. This falls in the realm of a criminal investigation, and as such, full disclosure and the objective of the investigation has to be made to us before any further information is provided. Can you believe the gall to tell Customs we ain't doing anything else, man? When Customs is well authorized to investigate. And I think it would have been in the interest of your client to have provided the documentation. The story has continued to be that it's mine, I pay this, I do this, I transferred that, it's mine. So if it's yours, the simplest thing to do, folks, if I bring in a vehicle 3 years ago, I just come to customs, here's my title, here's my documentation, here's my bill of lading. They have no tralala in that. Whether as a returning national who's been out and you're entitled to 100% duty free, whether you're a returning diplomat. But he does state that Ministry of Foreign Affairs pays this is standard, returning diplomats, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs pays any duties. He was not the first person, and he's not going to be the last. That's standard. They move you back home. They pay for the duties on the stuff that you acquired over there, whether it's a vehicle, whether it's a TV, whatever needs to have duty paid, they do that. But you have to own it. The state cannot pay duty on their own property for you. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here. So let's go to the documents on discovery. Let's go to that. Now, you see, again, I like to establish the baseline, right? So you understand. Let's go to the first page. Now, you see here, folks, on the first page. Now, the important thing to consider, this is a T, at the top it says T26. That is an application to purchase a British car at a tax-exclusive price. Dr. Ernest Hilaire was a diplomat, and he was entitled to do that. But you're only entitled to that tax-exclusive price once every year, every 2 years. Just want you to remember that, folks. Now, if you scroll down just a little bit, you see there, it says, there's a stamp there, it says, High Commission of St. Lucia. And to the right, it says the 2nd of April, 2015. So this is the vehicle, the first vehicle that Dr. Ernest Hilaire purchased, which went to his brother. He could do that if he wants to send his vehicle back home and give it to his brother or whatever. He can do that. There was no problem with the paperwork. Dr. Ernest Hilaire understood what papers were needed, what bill of lading was needed from the ship, from the shippers, what he needed in St. Lucia. His brother provided whatever he needed to provide. They have no RoRo with that vehicle. There's no RoRo. Dr. Ernest Hilaire even went, well, we'll hear it in a while, and said his brother took a loan from a credit union and he's still paying it up to the day. Last week, he said so. Why there's no RoRo with this vehicle? Why? Everything went smooth. Same process. So why a few months later would Dr. Ernest Hilaire have any issues, have any problems with bringing down another vehicle to St. Lucia? You went through the process already at least once. So you know. So let's go to the next document. And this is a letter from St. Lucia's High Commission, signed by R. Bates, I believe, on behalf of Dr. Ernest, St. Lucia's High Commissioner. And it's going to Mr. Patrick Alford at Land Rover Export, 17th of August, 2015. And it says, Dear Mr. Alford, the High Commission of St. Lucia is pleased to submit, as requested, the enclosed TX26. So it was accompanying that letter, an application to purchase a British car at a tax-exclusive price, on behalf of Mr. Tafawa Williams, Counselor for Maritime Affairs. The High Commission would be grateful for any courtesies extended to Mr. Williams. So let's go to the next document now. The next document is an email. It's an email, folks. And hold on there, don't go too fast, don't go too fast. At the top, it's from Linda Hamilton at the St. Lucia High Commission. You see the email address there. 1st of September 2015 to the High Commissioner. Now, just to spoil the fun a little bit, I have to let you know that this is a forwarded email. It's a forwarded because the contents of what was sent to Linda Hamilton is below. Just like when you get an email and you forward it and you say, for your attention, see below. And she says, Commissioner, for info, which means see below, please see the attached email below from Amanda Ellis from the DMIOU FCO, from the Foreign Commonwealth Office. Now, this is the email from Linda Hamilton to Miss Linda Hamilton, the High Commissioner of St. Lucia. That's her signature. Scroll up. Now, we can see here the email, the initial email from protocol, from the protocol team. You know, this is a big place. A lot of people, a lot of diplomats. So they have different departments. Hold it there. That deal with vehicular purchases, that deal with security, that deal with housing, and all of that for the diplomats. There are thousands of diplomats in the UK, in the US, all over those big cities where they have lots of missions. So, dear Linda, subject St. Lucia TX26 and TX9, new embassy vehicle and change of marital status. Dear Linda, further to, the date on this is the 1st of September, so it was forwarded right away to Dr. Ernest Hilaire. Dear Linda, further to your telephone conversation with my colleague Alexander Cook, I understand that there has been, listen to this, a misunderstanding concerning the marital status of Mr. Tafawa Robert Williams. In order for me to amend the record on our database, I should be grateful if you would please resubmit an amended change of circumstances TX9 form together with a photocopy of the vignette from Mistress Williams's passport. Something had happened there, and Tafawa Williams's wife had not been accredited with diplomatic status. Okay? Let's go down to the highlighted section. I also understand that, listen to this, folks, let's read it slow. I also understand that there was a misunderstanding regarding the application for a new duty-free vehicle, and that the vehicle is an official embassy fleet vehicle, not a personal vehicle, not an individual vehicle, not a tralala vehicle, not somebody's wife's vehicle, but an official embassy fleet vehicle, rather than a new duty-free vehicle purchased by Mr. Williams. Let's go to the next one. Next page. That'll be number 4. That's it there? That's not it. It's the one following. Hold on, go back. I missed something there. Oh, okay. I shall be happy to, what's up above? Let me see that. Let me make sure what's going on there. Okay, that's the continuation. All right. I shall be happy to process a new TX26 for the official embassy vehicle. Please do, therefore, arrange for the new TX26 to be submitted to me directly. To avoid any confusion, there's no misunderstanding. That's the evidence. To avoid any confusion, please put High Commission of St. Lucia in the box marked purchaser's name, and in the purchaser's address in the UK, put the mission's address. Now, we had heard talk about money was transferred to Tafawa Williams to purchase and all of this. But we're going to get to that in a while, why it was so critical for this to be sent. Let's go to the next page. Annually. Now, here's the application. To purchase a British car at a tax-exclusive rate. Now, the reason why Dr. Ernest Hilaire could not purchase that vehicle with a tax-exclusive rate is because why, folks? If you remember, he had already purchased one in April. So his quota for the year or for the 2 years had already been used up. He could not purchase another vehicle using the tax-exempt status which is afforded to diplomats because he had already purchased one. So a vehicle is purchased in the name of the St. Lucia High Commission. Now, we heard earlier that a vehicle cannot be purchased in the name of the High Commission unless there is authorization from Home Office, St. Lucia, unless it is in the estimates of expenditure for that vehicle to have been budgeted, and the money would have then been transferred to the UK. But somehow, somewhere, a vehicle is purchased in the name of St. Lucia. If it's purchased in the name of the High Commission, it's purchased in the name of St. Lucia, and it is what? Property of St. Lucia. Let's scroll down. Let's find out what's going on there. Because how was this approved? On the left there, circled in yellow, folks, is the seal, is the stamp of the High Commission of St. Lucia. But let's go back up again. Let's see the date. Is the date up top or it's down below? Let's go down. Let's see the date. To the right, 28th of September 2015. Just about a month, just about when Dr. Ernest Hilaire's attachment ends in the UK. Let's go to the next document. Now there we are, folks. Diplomatic sales. Diplomatic sales. So you must be a diplomat who has the tax-exempt status in order to purchase that vehicle. So let's see who the purchaser, the owner of the vehicle is. Highlighted there to make it easy for you folks. St. Lucia High Commission. I don't see Ernest Hilaire there. I don't see Tafawa Williams there. But let's scroll up a little more. And it says, place of delivery, London. Country of final destination, St. Lucia. So the vehicle was purchased in London in the name of the High Commission as a fleet vehicle. But when you say a fleet vehicle, it's supposed to be used in your fleet of vehicles, if I understand what fleet means. But it's saying there from the dealer that the vehicle going to St. Lucia. And who signed in receipt thereof or to authorize that? Vern Augustine on the 26th of November 2011. Who authorized that? Who authorized it in St. Lucia? Who allocated the funds in St. Lucia? Who transferred the funds to the High Commission to purchase a vehicle in the name of the state of St. Lucia? Let's go to the next form. Next document. Read it, folks. Application to dispose of a diplomatic registered vehicle. And first line in highlight. Permission is requested because you just can't take it and go, you know. So you're making representation. You're saying that this vehicle belongs to the High Commission. Not to Tafawa Williams, not to Ernest Hilaire. Folks, that is a false declaration. It's a false declaration. Permission is requested to dispose of the following vehicle that was registered under diplomatic privilege. Did Dr. Ernest Hilaire have any privilege to purchase this vehicle? I don't see his name there. So clearly he knows that he does not have diplomatic privilege anymore for the tax exclusive rate. Name of the mission that vehicle is attached to? High Commission of St. Lucia. Name of the owner? High Commission of St. Lucia. Scroll down to the bottom. Scroll down. The stamp verifying it is correct. Verifying it is true. The seal representing the government and people of St. Lucia authenticating this document as being true and correct, as being authentic, as being not forged, as bearing true information to the British authorities, that everything stated here, that the vehicle is owned by the St. Lucia High Commission in London, that the vehicle is owned by the government of St. Lucia. It's all there, right there. You see any other name? Do you see any other name? So that's it for those documents. Folks, let me tell you something. There's been a lot of arguments you've heard from Dr. Hilaire, from other persons. People have opined. People have made all sorts of explanations on radio, on TV, on social media, everything. Let me tell you something. If you work with the government of St. Lucia in Castries or in New York, let's say St. Lucia, and you know you work in a department of government, procurement, let's say procurement, that the government gets duty-free on vehicles, of course. But if you have to purchase that vehicle, you have to pay the duty-paid price. So you want a vehicle, you know that you're leaving government, you're retiring next month. So you contact Beachcomber, Peter and Company, JQ, whoever, say you want to purchase a vehicle, let's just say Toyota Prado, right? You purchase the vehicle in the name of the Ministry of Commerce, right? Ministry of Commerce. Get that market step video there ready for me from last week. From the Ministry of Commerce. It's registered, name of the government of St. Lucia. When you leave it now, you think you can take that vehicle and go with it? It's not in your name. How are you going to convert it? How are you going to do that? Even if you paid your money, took your own money and buy the vehicle, you think you can go with it? You know the process that has to go on there? But if the now, some people want to say, well, you will get duty-free in the UK and all kind of thing and all that, tax exempt and all of that. Really? So let me give you a scenario. The government of St. Lucia owes me on taxes. One of the rare times most people owe. But they owe me $1,000. You think I can just walk into the treasury and take $1,000 out of the till and go at my home and say, you know what? You all owe me $1,000, so we call it even. You'll be locked up. Because there is a process by which you do things. And as a diplomat, as a government worker, as an adult, anywhere, you're expected to follow the protocols. How we know those words so well lately. The protocols, the manner in which you do things. So, the vehicle leaves the UK, gets on a boat, and somehow, magically, it converts itself from being in the name of the St. Lucia High Commission to who in St. Lucia? Ernest Hilaire. How is that possible? But the thing is, the question is, and what has been the problem is, why is it so difficult to just give the documents to show that you own the vehicle? Why is it that St. Lucians do that every day without a problem? Why? How? Is there a problem in this, in perfecting this entry, in perfecting this customs transaction? Why is there a problem? Why is it so difficult? Why is everybody else is a problem with customs? Is a problem with that one? Is a problem in the UK? This one have to buy that. The shenanigans that are around the ring, Kathleen. Around the ring. Go no, Kath, take it and push it. There, Kathleen, take it and push it. There, Kathleen. Why? How is there such a problem? What is the complication? Why is this so complicated? How has it taken almost 5 years since the 23rd of December 2015 for this to be sorted out? Last week or 2 weeks ago, somebody came in with a vehicle and they cleared the vehicle. After the vehicle was cleared and there was some discrepancy that was detected then, customs seized motorcar bugla. But you're telling me 5 years later, we cannot sort that out? A whole haleka say, letter from lawyer, tout kalte bagay. Bagay ka fet langlite, a lot. But, you know, I always like to keep it real with you. In their own words. Last week, press conference, SLP, Dr. Ernest Hille had these things to say. Roll number 1.
The insecure and infantile Prime Minister Alan Chastenay's uncontrollable and disturbing obsession with me continues and has intensified. Previously, I responded to oral statements, insinuations, and comments regarding the purchase, importation, and ownership of 2 vehicles. Now the Prime Minister has shamefully weaponized the official office, misused the resources of the state, and taken matters to a new level. He has now reduced the office of Prime Minister to a weapon against a political opponent in executing a baseless and vindictive witch hunt against me.
Just present the document that shows that you own the vehicle. That's all. Just present the document that shows that you own the vehicle. Next one.
I then provided evidence that my brother had paid for his vehicle via a loan from a local credit union, a loan he continues to service.
So his brother paid for it. You went through the process with him and did everything, and no problem with the vehicle. Why is there nobody coming after that vehicle? Nobody. You say they're squeezing you. It was in your name first. You brought it in. Why there's no problem with that vehicle? How is there a problem now? Next one.
Not that the vehicle does not belong to me, not that it is stolen by me, but that I have now defrauded the UK government. Not the St. Lucian government, but defrauded the UK government by not paying VAT. How much is the VAT that they are referring to? £5,351.
So if it was such a minuscule amount as you poo-poo it away, whoa, a little $5,000, a little £5,000, a big... Did you pay it? Were you entitled to anything tax exempt in the purchase? Was anything purchased in your name? Because, you see, there is a procedure in government, and that is the difficulty. And I guess certain people, when you get to a certain point now, ou ha di telman bagay, ou pasa viwe point, ek di an lot bagay. As a diplomat, you should set the example. And when you take certain actions, or any actions you take, as a diplomat representing St. Lucia or any other country, it is a reflection on your country. And you do things in the name of the state. Whether you want to be personal about it, whether it's official meeting or whatever, when you're a diplomat and you're on station, anything you do can create a diplomatic incident. And now, you open up the whole specter of wondering what kind of shenanigans may be going on at the High Commission in London. Because, well, let's go to the next one. I'll talk to you.
I maintain, as I've always have, that I committed no infractions or breaches, nor were my actions even unusual.
Your actions were not unusual? You transfer money to this person to put it in their name, to this one there, to that one there, and you still don't have a vehicle in your name. You're not the owner of anything. But let's listen to some type of reasoning that he comes with now.
I wish to specifically and categorically state the following points for the benefit of the public. The purchase of an item, vehicle or otherwise, for a relative or a friend is a normal, legal, and legitimate transaction the world over. Such transactions are executed thousands of times per day, and St. Lucia is no exception. There is nothing in the law of St. Lucia which prohibits such transactions. Let me give you an example. You want a new flat screen TV or a barrel in the US. You send the money to a brother or a sister in the US to buy and ship to St. Lucia for you. Is that illegal? Items which are bought for export does not include VAT. And if it does include VAT, you can reclaim the VAT once it is exported.
A TV is not a car. A regular citizen sending money or asking a cousin or a nenen or a parent to buy a TV to send down for them does not require government approval. It does not require an allocation in the budget. It does not require filling out forms and attesting that they are true and correct. It does not require you to be a diplomat, being held to the highest standards, to go and purchase a TV. And vehicles, especially vehicles, because they cost generally more than almost anything else that you import, have strict requirements because of a lot of theft that has occurred. That is why you need title, like they call it in the US, the document of title, your purchase, and for customs you need all of that to verify that you're not importing stolen vehicles. Because there has been so much marketing in stolen vehicles, they've made that requirement. But the question still remains, why is it that you are unable to show? How many people had to be involved when you could have dealt, anybody can deal directly? You say it all the time, directly. The first vehicle was directly. You didn't have to go around the ring cuffling all along for your brother's vehicle. Why? Let's go to the next one.
The simple question is, how could I have defrauded the UK government when they have lost nothing? Even if VAT was to be paid, then surely the monies will be repaid to me once the vehicle is exported. At all material times, Mr. Tafawa
But hold on,
Williams was acting as my...
stop there. Come back to me there. But folks, that is the problem. Which vehicle did you purchase? Where is it? Where is your documentation to show that? How? Where? That is the question that you're skirting around. Where is the documentary evidence to show that you are the owner of the vehicle? The owner. Where is the document? The only documents that I see show that a vehicle was purchased in the name of the state of St. Lucia through the St. Lucia High Commission in London. That is all. That is the long and the short of it. Simple and easy, so like magic. Simple and easy, so. So how would anything in the name of the state get to St. Lucia and magically change ownership? Did something happen on the high seas? What happened? How did that happen? But let's start over that last clip again.
At all material times, Mr. Tafawa Williams was acting as my agent, as is legally and properly entitled to do. And all documentation associated with the transaction was legal and legitimate. Mr. Williams acted as my agent as the transaction related to the vehicle could not have been completed prior to my deed. The vehicle could not have been completed prior to my deed. Have an agent act on my behalf, given that I would not be there to personally receive the vehicle. Mr. Williams, act on my behalf, given that I would not be there to personally receive the vehicle. Mr. Williams was a member of staff and was accredited as a diplomat enjoying duty-free privileges.
Stop right there.
However, Mr.
Stop right there. Okay, play, keep going, keep going.
However, Mr. Williams already had a diplomatic car registered in his name and could not have registered the vehicle in order that it could be received and shipped to me.
Stop it there.
The High Commission was...
Stop it there. Go back 10 seconds and play that again, DJ.
And could not have registered the vehicle in order that it could be received and shipped to me.
It could not have been ready. So what happened? So in essence, you're saying Tafawa Williams was in the same situation as you. So what happened? So what did Tafawa Williams do? Did he put it in the name of his wife? No, he didn't. What happened? I don't know what happened there. I don't know what happened. Did Tafawa spend the money? Did he give it to somebody? What happened? All I see is an invoice for the High Commission in St. Lucia. All I see is delivery of a vehicle to the High Commission of St. Lucia. And I see an application for the export of a vehicle in the name of the High Commission of St. Lucia. Did it finish? Keep going.
However, Mr. Williams already had a diplomatic car registered in his name and could not have registered the vehicle in order that it could be received and shipped to me. The High Commission was advised to facilitate the transaction under its name.
Stop there, stop there, stop there. Come back to me. The High Commission was advised to facilitate the transaction and put the vehicle in its name? Who? That's what we want to know. Who advised that? Who advised it, folks? He doesn't say. You see, again, the mystery. The High Commission was advised to put the vehicle in its name. Who advised that? Was it Alva Baptiste as the Minister of Foreign Affairs at the time? Because he's the one you'd be in direct contact with. He's your immediate superior. Or was it Prime Minister Dr. Kenny Anthony that advised to put it in the name of the High Commission? Was it the janitor at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs or the janitor at the High Commission? Who advised? Was it you? Was it Vern Augustine? Was it Tafawa Williams? Was it Linda Hamilton? Was it Walid Jufali? Who? Who advised that? Because anybody doing that, I have a simple question to ask. Would that be authorized? The government of St. Lucia didn't authorize the purchase of any vehicle in its name, because we saw the letter from the Director of Finance. So what kind of cocoa macaquerie went on? That's the question, in the name of St. Lucia. And there is not forthcoming enough information for the people of St. Lucia to discern what went on. And this has gone on for too long, 5 years. And there's lots of vehicles and goods that customs has seized. And we're still there waiting for the carnival circus. Open the lines. Put the numbers up. I want you all to call now, folks. And I want you all and even if the barrel is sent with flat screen TV or whatever your brother or your sister or your cousin sent for you, it's sent down in your name. They have no ownership kind of thing problem going on there. Is with vehicles, you need this specific information. And now we're talking about an asset of the state. And an asset of the state cannot just be disposed of because an ambassador comes back home and he says, that's my vehicle. How can that happen? So in essence, the government is facilitating some kind of cocoa macaquerie? We have a call. Good night. You're on the air. We have a call. Good night.
Hello?
Yes, good night.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
All I can say is that I'm very disappointed and disgusted.
Why do you say that, caller? In what are you disappointed and disgusted? Let's talk here now. Caller, you got to listen to the phone, not the TV. Oh, okay. 450-0777. Well, I guess this person is very disgusted by what has been revealed there tonight. Something strange going on. I don't know, but from what I see here, tonight you're on the air. Let's keep it real.
Norbert, good night.
Good night, sir.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
I think I want to be able to buy a vehicle just like that, you know.
I want one too.
Buy one for me.
Well, maybe you can talk to the people who are experts at that and they can help you do it, you know, because somebody said it's nothing unusual.
Now, what is really troubling me is the question as to who advised the commission.
That's what I want to know, you know. Who's this imaginary
it's
character?
Important. No, well, it's important that the documentation on that one comes out. I don't know if the same gentleman that is holding the documents regarding the seabed might be able to help. But we really need to get to the bottom of that one.
But caller, you know, the interesting thing is that there's been so many calls from Dr. Ernest Hilaire, from the leader of the opposition, from the opposition. Transparency and accountability. Transparency in the House, everywhere. Transparency and accountability. Transparency. Ebe, mili, misha zot pu muche, pu baye exemple. Kisa transparency ek accountabilidad ye.
This one really baffles me, you know. And so I think the answer is in the question regarding the person who gave the commission the advice to go ahead.
That's
with
what
that.
I want
so
to know.
So we need to find out whether that person had the authority to give that permission or not. So if the person had the authority to do that, then I guess it's all well and good.
But caller, from what we understand here, there cannot be any authority or permission to do that because, number one, in the estimates of expenditure. Nothing at all. No authorization for the state, whatever. What's going on?
Well, there was nothing as it related to the authority.
But caller,
and it happened. So,
but caller, all of that is secondary or null and void. As far as I'm concerned, the main issue here is ownership of the vehicle.
Well, yeah, I'm playing devil's advocate. You know,
Yeah.
I just want to believe that there is, you know, some legitimacy in this thing, because otherwise, I mean, you know, somebody has got to pay. That's the way I see it.
Well, caller, I don't know.
I don't know if it is.
We have a lot of questions that are unanswered.
We seem to like commission of inquiries here. Maybe we might have to go that route, you know, and find out something. But something, you know, has to give. Okay, good night.
Thank you very much, caller. Thank you. Philip J. Pierre. All he can say is that the lines are open, 450-0777. And there's St. Jude's for you folks. There's St. Jude's for you. Good night, you're on the air. Let's keep it real.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Mr. Robert?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I watching and I'm listening and I...
Speak into the telephone a little bit, caller.
I said I'm watching, I'm listening, and I just cannot believe what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing there. I don't know, based on what you said, he purchased a vehicle for his brother?
The first vehicle? Yes.
Yes.
With his diplomatic tax privilege.
And they didn't have any problem with that.
There was no problem at all.
So I believe if that vehicle, the second vehicle, if he had purchased it on his name as a former diplomat, it would have been even easier to clear it in customs than the first one, because I believe privilege would have been granted to you since you are a former diplomat, and you understand. So
government would pay the duties.
Right, and it's going up to 4 years, you said?
So that vehicle has been out on a pre-delivery since the 23rd of December, 2 days before Christmas.
And it's going up to 4 years now since the one document relating to the owner of that vehicle, and they can't get that yet.
Every time it's this ministry, that one there, this, that.
This is unbelievable.
Incredible. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I don't know. I don't even know what much to say again. But I find that it's unbelievable, and it's time to put that thing to a close. It's time to do
Philip
that.
JP has to say something. What he said there last week is not cutting it. That's passing the buck. That's trying to, some kind of Jimmy Flicks, dodge the bullet. Take it head on. Deal with this.
I believe it is time for Dr. Haley to come clear on that too. I believe it is time for him to come clear.
I want the Minister of Foreign Affairs and the Prime Minister who were there during that tenure in 2015 to say something about what went on over there. Who authorized what was going on? I don't know. Was it Alva Baptiste?
But listen to that. He know for sure if something is wrong there. You know for sure. So why on the market step taking your keys and saying how if it's yours, come for it. If it's yours, come for it. Even in the House of Assembly, he did that same thing. Taking the keys in the air. If it's yours, come for it. If it's your vehicle, come for it.
Thank you very much, caller.
Yeah, that's things.
Thank you for keeping it real. Show that again. Show that for me there. There's a little.
I left my job to take a pay cut to be High Commissioner. And I said to them, if it's your vehicle, come for it. Here is the keys. Come for it.
That's where 450-0777, that's where it all began, Castries Market Steps. That's where it burst out on the public scene. That's where it got the real visibility. And he's done that in the House on more than one occasion. He said it at political meetings. He said it in press conferences. He said it at a press conference Membagaila. Folks, I don't know what to say. We have another call? Nothing yet? We have one. Good night, you're on the line. Let's keep it
Hi,
real.
Norbert. Good night.
Yes,
Hey,
good
Norbert.
night.
Norbert, these things, these revelations you have on your show tonight, and what I've seen out there, Norbert, they're extremely disturbing to me about Ernest
To
Hillis.
a lot of people.
No, but it's not just the vehicle. It started before that. 4 years ago, when we found out that we had an ambassador called Jufali, and the way we, St. Lucia, found out was when St. Lucia's name was plastered across the UK press.
That's right.
That we were a banana republic who was selling our diplomacy to the highest bidder.
Al
That's
Jazeera
how we
report
knew
too.
about Jufali.
Yeah.
That's how we woke up one morning and St. Lucia's name was being dragged through the mud because of that Jufali appointment. And it stinks, and it continues to stink, and we haven't gotten any answers up to a day like today for it. And when I see the cocoa macaquerie that has gone on with the people that we have, taxpayers of St. Lucia have paid to sit in the UK embassy, right, in the UK High Commission, Tafawa Williams, Ernest Hilaire, even Albert Bridges, the kind of stuff they've done to get that vehicle passed, it makes me wonder about it.
That's right. That's right. Because that vehicle didn't get here with one person. A number of people had to facilitate that transaction.
That vehicle, exactly. When I see the loopholes, the affidavit, they've sworn. Tafawa was a lawyer. Albert Bridges is a lawyer, and he's swearing to things that are not true, blatantly lying to the UK government, dishonesty, saying that the vehicle is supposed to be part of the official fleet of the High Commission when they know darn well it was never intended to be. How could you trust those guys? No, but it continues to hurt my heart. Honestly, the whole thing with Jufali, because Jufali has clearly gotten what he wanted to get. God alone knows who's gotten. St. Lucia has been the only loser in this. We were promised a diabetes research center. Up to now, I haven't seen it.
Nada.
So what benefit did we get from Jufali's appointment? You know, clearly the man wanted diplomatic immunity to avoid paying his wife years divorcing half of the property. That's his whole objective, right? Mm-hmm. What did St. Lucia get? Who benefited? You know, who benefited? That's I continue to ask that question. And you know, when I hear Ernest's response to all of this, it's just defensiveness. It's not answering. It's dodging the questions. It's deflection. It's trying to play he's a victim. You know, he's like blaming everybody. The prime minister, this one. No, Ernest, you brought it upon yourself.
That's right.
You by your actions, and you need
that
to
is
come
right,
clean with the people of St. Lucia about what your involvement with Jufali has been, who benefited from Jufali's appointment, and why you had to go through this extent to defraud the government of the UK and possibly the government of St. Lucia for taxes, using the good name of the St. Lucia High Commission office in the UK. Like, it's our name he has dragged to the mud.
That's right. That's right.
That hurts me to my core. That whole Jufali thing and not his vehicle thing and bringing St. Lucia's name into disrepute. You know, I had high hopes for this, you know. I used to have, 10 years ago, I had high hopes for this guy. And I'm shocked as to the cocoa macaquerie that Ernest is involved in. Like, it's shocking.
And the thing that he says at the press conference last week, only £5,000 or £3,000 or like it's nothing. So how are we here right now?
Exactly. So why didn't he pay it? If Ernest could go through the loopholes and the hoops he jumped through to defraud the UK government of $5,000, what wouldn't he do for £20,000, £100,000?
I don't know. That's a question that many people are asking. What does this mean?
You know, who has benefited? If you go through that extent, signing, put your name, basically you're forging. You're saying that the vehicle is supposed to be the official. It's not. You know damn well it's not. For $5,000, what wouldn't you do for more? That's my question. And it burns me as a solution to know this guy and the people in our UK office have dragged our name through the mud. But beyond that, Norbert, the transparency of the Labour Party always preaching honesty, transparency, integrity, and so on.
That's the mantra.
What are they doing about it? What is Philip Pierre
Philip
doing
J.
about
Pierre,
it?
that's right.
But Philip Pierre has a responsibility to take action against that. He has a responsibility. You cannot go into an election tainted like that.
And the thing is, caller, the thing is, caller, that we have hardly heard anything from St. Lucia's foreign minister at the time, who should have been on top of all of this.
No, but up to now I haven't heard Alva's voice on this, and I'm seriously wondering about Alva's position. Was Alva aware what was going on? You know, because he was the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Was he aware? Because
he should have been aware. He was the minister.
But his silence is very deafening. Don't forget of the relationship Ernest had to the then PM and so on. Ernest may have been a more powerful factor than Alva.
Well, I don't know. I'm taking things at the way that they're supposed to be in the scheme of things with the what they call it.
The protocols and stuff.
Pardon?
The protocols and stuff.
Well, not just the protocols, but with the what they call it, the hierarchy. You have to go through the different levels, and I would expect that would be the case.
But we see here that things don't happen as they're supposed to happen. You see people.
Well, clearly in this case.
So I just it's amazing to me how the then Minister of Foreign Affairs has never come out in defense of Ernest, even when that Jufali thing
nothing
was
at all
4 years ago. And his silence is very, very, very telling of what his position is. In my heart of hearts, I don't know. I've never spoken to Alva about it. I don't believe Alva was in the loop about all of this. I don't believe he supported. I think he's very upset about this whole thing. And yeah, but even beyond Alva, I go back to Philip Pierre. He's a political leader, right?
He is.
SLP love to pretend. There are some paradigm of virtue and honesty and transparency and integrity. Philip Pierre, I'm calling on you to deal with the situation. Deal with it. Have Ernest come and tell us how the vehicle, what legal instrument transferred ownership from the St. Lucia High Commission, aka the government of St. Lucia, to Ernest Hilaire. Ernest he's been dodging that question from the time this thing broke, and up to now he hasn't come out and tell us. I'm calling on Philip Pierre, a political leader who's aspiring to be the Prime Minister. Ask Ernest Hilaire for transparency. Stop defending foolishness. If you want to be the party of integrity and transparency and honesty, you take a principled position, Philip Pierre. That's my contribution, Norbert.
Thank you very much, caller. Thank you for keeping it real. Let's. We have one more? No, that's it? We have one more call? Okay, good night. You're on the air. Let's keep it real.
Yes, hello?
Yes, good night.
Yes, hi. I just have one point of view.
Yes?
I just have one point of view. I think it's a little sad that we seem to be preoccupied with Ernest Hilaire, and there are so many honest...
Caller, listen to the phone. Don't listen to your device.
Okay, I think we seem to be preoccupied too much with Ernest Hilaire, and there are so many social issues affecting St. Lucia. Why don't we focus on that? It's becoming a little tired and exhausting. I'm tired of hearing about it. Okay, that's my contribution.
Thank you very much.
Focus on other important things.
Thank you very much. But caller, that is important. In fact, it's very important. It particularly involves our diplomats who represent St. Lucia at the highest levels around the world. And in this particular instance, our High Commissioner in London, who represents St. Lucia to the world over there. And they have to set a much higher standard than is expected of anybody else, because they have lots of protections, they have lots of requirements, they have lots of expectations. And in representing the government and the people of St. Lucia, you must show that St. Lucia is a country of values, that St. Lucia is a country of respect, and respect for the rule of law. And you must show not only the rule of law for St. Lucia, but the rule of law in other countries that host you on behalf of our country. Thank you very much for our call. Everything is important, but particularly in this case, when you have other St. Lucians who have to comply with the regulations and the requirements for vehicles when they return from wherever they've lived, when they've imported items, that must be shown to apply not only to the regular St. Lucians, but to all St. Lucians, diplomat or not. Let's get that last clip on the market steps again. All St. Lucians are answerable.
I left my job to take a pay cut to be High Commissioner. And I said to them, if it's your vehicle, come for it. Here is the keys. Come for it.
If you don't do it right, you should have set the example. Lots of people are in much different places now because they did not set the example or they did not abide by the rules. That's it for tonight, folks. A lot for you to think about. I'm Norbert Williams. Good night.
The opinions expressed on this TV program by the hosts, guests, and callers are solely their opinions and responsibility. They do not necessarily represent the views and opinions of Hot 7 TV or its affiliates.
Hot 7 TV is the rising star of television in St. Lucia with our stunning